Our next award is the Leadership Award, the AHIF Leadership Award. And this gentleman has been very involved in the whole development and investment in hotels in Africa. And in April 2019, I believe it was, Kasada closed their first hospitality fund with equity commitments of over 500 million. One of the most active investors in our sector, with 14 hotels in Africa, soon I think 20, all in less than 18 months. The winner of our leadership award this year is the CEO of Kasada Capital Management, Olivier Granet. Olivier, come and join us on stage. Many congratulations, Olivier. And I'd like to bring up my good friend, Nick Van Marken, to do a little Q&A with Olivier.
Well, thanks, Johnny. Mic on, guys? Yeah. Olivier, have a comfy seat. It's just the two of us. So it struck me, actually, that the last time I heard an Englishman and a Frenchman having a fireside chat, they were talking about Boris Johnson and Emmanuel Macron. So we'll try and do better than they did. Tell me, how does someone who spent 10 years with Deloitte in Paris, prior to my arrival, I have to say, get to be running an organization of this scale and complexity focused in Africa? I could see from your career that you managed to escape audit quite quickly, which is a very important thing. All auditors know that the first thing you have to work out is how to get out of audit. And you got into corporate finance, and then you moved on to Accor, and you became effectively managing director for the Middle East region, and then Africa got bolted on, and then you made this huge step, which John has just referred to. But we're going to talk about Kasada tomorrow, so we don't want to talk about that. What I'm interested in is your journey, clearly quite different to Amos's journey, but probably no less interesting. So how does an accountant get to be doing what you're doing now? Yeah. And do you tell anyone you're an accountant, or do you hide that?
No, difficult to take the seat after Amos.
It is.
Such a story that with a lot of humility. Starting from with Deloitte compared to what we have listened before, it's quite a different experience. But no, I'm proud, and it was. I mean, we have in common to spend some years with Deloitte. It was a very good learning experience. Probably this is where I started to have some interest for adventure and going to some market and things which are a little bit different from what you can experience in Paris and London. So, in fact, I started very young, and I was trying some good ideas to, in France, you still have the military service and the perspective to spend 1 year doing not a lot of things that was not so exciting for me. So I took the opportunity, in fact, to go to Eastern Europe just after the fall of the Berlin Wall. So it was in 1991. It was really kind of pioneer. And I think that this is probably something that between Eastern Europe, Middle East, Africa, when you try to look at things that are quite different. And yes, so from the audits and the corporate finance, and in fact, Accor was one of my clients. And what struck me the most is that the first two persons I saw at Accor were totally different, really, really different. And one from chief development, very well structured, good, long education, and other one really from the operation. And really the guy who has been everywhere in the world. And it was fascinating for me to see, wow, it's so exciting to see an industry and companies where you can find people with so different profile. It should be fun to work in such company. That's how it started. And this is where I did like a lot of other people. When you are after the 10 years, 10 years in an audit firm, you look for your executive MBA, and then 90% are looking for an exit and change company. And it was for me the opportunity to change of the world, not to become a partner and to start a new adventure with Accor. And this is how it started. And I had 20 years, but 20 years changing job, changing region. And when I mean changing job, is doing things really different every 2-3 years. And it has been for me an amazing journey and a capacity to meet a number of people, number of countries. I'm not sure that you have so many industries in the world where you can have such opportunity.
No. And did you, when you were in Paris, imagine that you would one day be living in Johannesburg?
Not at all, but when I was I started my first job with Accor was again in Eastern Europe. So this is when I came back to Paris, where I did not imagine to stay in Paris for 7-8 years to become head of strategy for Accor. That I was really excited with the idea to go back again, to be on the field, and it took longer than expected. But finally, I managed to do it and to go to Middle East and to arrive in Dubai in 2011. I started the first call in 2010. It was just after the crisis. Say, well, what do you think? I'm proposed a job for development in Dubai, and everybody was telling me it's crazy. It will be a bloodbath. It has been the crisis here. You have 30,000 rooms on the pipeline. It will never work, and that's not a good thing to do. Say, oh, it looks like interesting challenge. Let's go for it.
Now, somehow along on this journey, you have had time to have a family. Now, just remind me how many children you have, Olivier, and whatever number he comes up with, it won't be a number that you guys are guessing at the moment.
Well, 7.
7. I mean, that's quite impressive, right? If you've managed to sort of keep your family moving with you, and you're bringing up 7 kids. Are they all with you in South Africa?
I moved to Dubai with 6 out of the 7, and I moved to South Africa with the 2 remaining ones. So and now the last one has been graduated just in last June. So no more kids with us, but I'm quite proud that she's starting at Institut Paul Bocuse.
Really?
In Lyon,
Wow.
in hospitality. So I've at least 1 out of the 7 very interested by hospitality as well, and for me it's also the opportunity to how this hospitality school, the work that they are doing, and the capacity today to attract young people and to motivate and to learn. It's amazing. It's fundamental for our industry, and I think that they are really doing a great job.
So you've nearly got them all off the payroll. You've got 1 at Paul Bocuse, which I think is
expensive.
Yeah, that's clearly very expensive, but at least you're going to get a good meal when you go around, right? So there's some positives. And Lyon is always a lovely city to visit. There's no shortage of restaurants. People, talent is very important to you. I was very struck when you look at the Kasada website, especially in light of what we've just been talking about in terms of people and where people are hired from. If you go on the Kasada website, one of the more striking things is you can tell how many of the people you have are effectively African, to describe it in the easiest way. Was that always part of your objective apart from how do you spend $1 billion, which we'll talk about tomorrow, how do you find people, and was the choice of going to Johannesburg partly linked to where you find people? Why did you choose Johannesburg?
Well, the first choice is first of all to say that, and it was for me a very important move to become an entrepreneur. So it's very different between hotel operator and investor, with a very different approach. And for me, the capacity, first of all, the first decision is to say we have to be based on the continent. And we have to create a team and to create a unique combination of people bring the expertise from the private equity finance with people from the industry. And that was the first objective, and that's something that we did with David, my partner, and together we call it the firm, and we decided to create this quite unique culture. And then at that time, our mandate is Sub-Saharan Africa, and at that time to be based in Joburg was for us the best choice. Now we'll discuss tomorrow, we are in 8 countries, we are growing, we are interested to see what is happening also in North Africa, which means that our organization will have to evolve. But back to your point, you can do it if you have the right talents, if you have the people with the full autonomy, the full capacity to move on the deal and to represent the firm. This is how you can grow. So the first investment and the most important one is about your people.
What would you say the most important thing you've learned through your career is? I mean, if you were reflecting on this and you were sitting in front of the fireplace, because we're having a fireside chat, and you said, I wish I'd known that when I was, starting, what would the most important thing be?
Probably the humility and the capacity to listen is where then you can use with smart people and talented people. This is then when you can create value. But first is how you interact with the other and how you create a capacity to connect. When I was listening to the story, I mean, it was amazing. And the job today is to be able to connect with a number of people, to be interested by the story, and then to see, okay, is there something we can do together? Is there some value that we can create? Is there some support that we can bring? And the good news is that we have some resources, we have some talented people, so we have then the capacity to do it.
Well, on that note, humility and the ability to listen, I'd like to just extend my best, well done. Congratulations, I think is the word I'm looking for.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Olivier, with 7 children, you're not going to be leaving work anytime soon. But many, many congratulations from all of us for the Leadership Award and for everything you're doing for Africa. So